On June 27, 2017, at exactly 5 p.m., Ukraine broke into chaos. ATMs stopped working, subway card readers went offline, and the digital backbone of the country, its banks, businesses, and government systems, collapsed. The cause? A mysterious malware that infected computers, locking up their data and demanding $300 in Bitcoin to set it free. But what began as a targeted strike on Ukraine spiraled into a global catastrophe. This is the story of the most devastating cyber attack in history.
Today we announce criminal charges against the conspiracy of Russian military intelligence officers who stand accused of conducting the most disruptive and destructive series of computer attacks ever attributed to a single group.
NotPetya. In the industrial zone of Kiev, hidden away in a small family-run software company called Linkos Group, a modest server room quietly managed routine updates for MeDoc, Ukraine's leading tax software, similar to TurboTax. By 2017, this software was used by the vast majority of companies in the country. But the day before Ukraine's Constitution Day, something went terribly wrong. Oleksiy Yasinski, head of the CyberLab at Information Systems Security Partners, received a frantic call from Bank, one of Ukraine's largest banks. Their IT systems were under attack. At first, it seemed like typical ransomware, but when Yasinski arrived, he found something far worse. 90% of the bank's computers were frozen with a disturbing ransom message. As similar reports flooded in from across Ukraine, the situation became dire. Businesses, government agencies, and critical infrastructure were all hit. People worried about their money, their jobs, and their daily needs. But the chaos didn't stop at Ukraine's borders. In Odessa, a finance executive at Maersk, the world's largest shipping company, unknowingly triggered a global catastrophe by installing MeDoc on a single computer. That single act alone allowed NotPetya to infiltrate Maersk's entire IT infrastructure, bringing 574 offices in 130 countries to their knees. Ships were stranded, ports were paralyzed, and billions of dollars in global trade were thrown into chaos. But how did this malware create such havoc? The unsettling truth: it wasn't ransomware, it was something far more sinister. The name might sound familiar because it resembles Petya, a ransomware that surfaced in early 2016, demanding payment to unlock victims' files. But NotPetya was different, much more dangerous. Disguised as ransomware, NotPetya was actually a destructive worm, a type of malware that spreads on its own, infecting more systems as it goes. It didn't just stay in Ukraine. It spread worldwide, hitting places like hospitals in Pennsylvania and even a chocolate factory in Tasmania. The attack had 3 malicious components. Picture a burglar sneaking into an office and going through desks to find keys. That's what Mimikatz did for NotPetya. After getting into a computer, thanks to the compromised MeDoc update, Mimikatz searched for usernames and passwords. In networks where computers were connected, it could find credentials that unlocked access to other machines. With these digital keys, NotPetya spread within networks, infecting multiple systems. To hit as many targets as possible, NotPetya used a weapon called Eternal Blue. Originally developed by the NSA, this tool exploited a hidden flaw in Windows computers, a kind of master key that opened countless doors. Although Microsoft had released a patch for this vulnerability in April 2017, many users hadn't updated their systems. NotPetya exploited this, using Eternal Blue to break into unpatched machines, spreading the worm at an alarming speed. Once NotPetya infiltrated and spread, it revealed its most destructive feature: the Petya encryption component. Imagine a vandal entering a library and scrambling all the books so they're unreadable. NotPetya did something similar, encrypting the entire hard drive of infected computers, making all the data useless. After a reboot, victims saw a ransom note demanding Bitcoin to restore their files. But here's the catch: paying the ransom didn't help. Unlike traditional ransomware, where paying might get your data back, NotPetya had no decryption key. Even if you paid the $300 in Bitcoin, your files were gone for good. It wasn't designed to make money. It was designed to destroy. But why did this happen at all? Who benefits from pure destruction? NotPetya is the result of a war. In 2014, Russia illegally annexed Crimea, a Ukrainian peninsula, as part of its territory. Shortly afterward, a conflict broke out in eastern Ukraine, involving Russian-backed separatists. This conflict, which escalated dramatically in 2022 with Russia's full-scale invasion, has resulted in tens of thousands of deaths and displaced millions. Since 2014, Ukraine has become a testing ground for Russian cyber warfare. 9 months after NotPetya's initial strike, the White House issued a stark statement. NotPetya was the work of the Russian military, specifically designed to cripple Ukraine. Intelligence agencies from the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, known as the Five Eyes, all pointed the finger at Russia.
I will tell you that this person has said that and that person has said this, but where is the evidence? Where is proof?
But who exactly launched this attack? The blame falls on a notorious hacking group known as Sandworm, linked to Russia's military intelligence agency, the GRU, while another Kremlin-linked group, Fancy Bear, was hacking the US Democratic National Committee in 2016. Sandworm was unleashing chaos in Ukraine. Their attacks followed an alarming pattern. In the winters of 2015 and 2016, Sandworm caused widespread power outages in Ukraine, the first ever confirmed blackouts caused by hackers. While Ukraine was NotPetya's primary target, its impact went far beyond the country's borders. Any multinational company with MeDoc installed was hit hard. Major corporations like Maersk, pharmaceutical giant Merck, FedEx's European branch TNT Express, French construction firm Saint-Gobain, food producer Mondelez, and manufacturer Reckitt Benckiser all suffered huge losses, each costing hundreds of millions of dollars. Surprisingly, NotPetya even hit targets within Russia. Companies like the state oil firm Rosneft, steelmaker Evraz, and medical tech firm In Vitro were all affected, proving that this digital weapon didn't discriminate. So, how big was the damage really? In February 2018, the US government called NotPetya the most destructive and costly cyber attack in history, and for good reason. The attack hit over 2,300 organizations across more than 100 countries, with estimated losses of $10 billion. Tom Bossert, a former White House Homeland Security advisor, compared it to using a nuclear bomb to achieve a small tactical victory. The scale of the damage was staggering. In Kiev alone, 4 hospitals were impacted, and 6 power companies were affected. Even the computers at the Chernobyl cleanup site, 60 miles north of Kiev, were shut down. The attack was swift and brutal. A large Ukrainian bank's network was taken down in just 45 seconds, and part of the country's transit hub was fully infected in 16 seconds. To sum it up, as Ukrainian former Minister of Infrastructure Volodymyr Omelyan bluntly stated, the government was dead. Since NotPetya, Russian cyber tactics have evolved, especially after the 2022 invasion of Ukraine. The GRU, Russia's military intelligence, has shifted its focus from phishing to targeting edge devices like firewalls and routers. This new approach allows for faster and more persistent attacks. They've also integrated cyber and physical warfare, with coordinated cyber attacks and missile strikes causing blackouts in Ukrainian cities. Russia's cyber attacks have increasingly targeted civilian infrastructure, such as the 2024 attack that disabled heating in Lviv during winter. Meanwhile, Ukraine has intensified its cyber offensives to disrupt military logistics and gather intelligence. So, what did NotPetya teach us? Companies like Maersk learned the hard way that it's important to separate their networks better. The attack also showed the dangers of using old software and not keeping systems updated. Most importantly, it made clear that having strong backup plans is crucial to keep things running during a disaster. By sheer luck, one of Maersk's backups in Ghana survived because the region experienced a power outage during the attack. Using this surviving domain controller, Maersk was able to rebuild its infrastructure. But luck is not a strategy. NotPetya was a turning point in the history of cyber warfare. What started as a targeted strike on Ukraine quickly became a global catastrophe, affecting thousands of companies and causing billions in damages. It exposed the vulnerabilities of our interconnected world and the destructive power of state-sponsored cyber attacks. The attack was a harsh lesson. In today's digital age, no one is safe from the reach of cyber warfare. And the question now is, are we ready for the next one? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story has got you thinking about your own cybersecurity, don't just sit back and wait for the next attack. Check out SoftwareLab.org and find the best antivirus for your needs. And before you go, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video to stay one step ahead. This video demonstrates how someone failed at their cybersecurity homework. On that note, stay safe online.